Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be taking a little dive into r/AmITheDevil, where we get to judge some gigantic gaping board holes that Reddit has decided are evil. Pure evil. Okay, that might be a bit of a stretch, but they've been pegged to the butthole. That is a terrible phrasing to use. Oh my goodness, I should probably cut that out, but I'm not gonna. Oh dear. Anyway, if that sounds like something you'd be interested in listening to with me today, then please do stick around and enjoy. Oh my goodness, what's wrong with me? It's late. It's very late, okay? My brain has stopped working. And of course, quick disclaimer, any opinions that I give on the posts that we read today are just opinions. They are not fact, do not need to be taken as such. If you have a differing opinion, that is great. Do feel free to share it in the comments below. Just make sure that you're keeping it respectful. There is no need to be a bumhole to anyone you do not agree with. With that being said, let's get into it then, shall we? So this first one was reposted by Death by Kool-Aid Man, and they say 1 year later, an update. It was originally posted in r/Am I the Butthole apparently 2 years ago. Am I the butthole for making my son cry? I, 47F, have a son, 14M, from a previous marriage to my late wife. She passed 2 years ago, and for my son, the wound is still very fresh. My son and her were very close as they look exactly alike and had a lot of the same interest in reading, history, and art. The favourite place in the world is the British Museum in London. Their passion project has been redrawing pieces from the museum for the last 2 years before. For the last 4 years, for my wife's birthday in June and my son's birthday in December, we go to England for a week so that they can spend time in the museum. However, since she died, my son and I have continued going for his birthday. That's cute. That's nice that they had that little tradition and that so far the son's been able to continue it, but I have a feeling that that is going to end very soon. The problem is with my new wife, 39F, I mean, say no more. This should stop right here. It should be like, the problem is my new wife, now we're getting divorced. Do you know what I mean? She's only been with us on this annual trip once last year, and she complained the whole time. Now, however, we recently found out that we are expecting a child together in May. She raised it to my attention that the money I've used for the trip could be better used to be saved for the baby, and we could instead do something else for my son's birthday. I thought about it and I agreed. I was worried how he'd take it, as this is the only thing that he wants for his birthday. He doesn't ask for gifts or cake or a party. All he cares about is this goddamn museum. I mean, yeah, because it's the only connection I'm sure he feels he has to his mum anymore. And I'm not being funny, right? I could understand the new wife maybe being a little bit uncomfortable when her husband is like maybe mentioning his ex-wife. I would get that. But when it's you're coming into a family where the child of that family has lost their mum, all bets are off on that one. I mean, it's tough shit. If you have to hear about your new husband's late wife the rest of that child's life, it's tough. You've come into a family with a child who has lost a parent, that you're going to have to put up with the fact that you're going to have to respect that that child is going to want to talk about that parent. They're going to want to do things around that parent, maybe around that parent's birthday, maybe around the day the parent died. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're just going to have to suck it up. And I get if there is a new baby coming along, maybe needing to spend a little bit of money, but let's be honest, do we really think that the money is the problem here? No, because considering she complained the whole time she was on the trip, the last year from when this was posted, I think we know what the real reason is, don't we? We broke the news to my son yesterday and he flipped out. He was so upset, and when my wife tried to tell him why we were saving the money and where the money was going to, he said he didn't give a damn, and we got into an argument about it. He said he was upset because if he didn't go this year, he'd miss the new exhibit that he'd been wanting to see, and he accused my wife of doing this on purpose because she already doesn't like me, he said. I mean, has she treated him that way? Has she made him feel that way? There is a bigger issue here that I feel this OP is overlooking. I admit I yelled at him and he started crying, and for the last 24 hours, he hasn't spoke to me. Am I the butthole? So I do get that, money can get in the way of taking this trip and blah, blah, blah. But I understand as well that it needs to be approached in a way better way than being like, yeah, we're not going and it's because of this new baby. Because that's going to make the 14-year-old feel pushed out. That it's going to make them feel like their mum is being pushed out. Like that is all being forgotten. There would have been a much more sensitive way to do this. Do I know what way that is? Of course I don't. I've never had to deal with that kind of situation. I just know this wasn't it. But yeah, I mean, there is already hints that the stepmom is not too happy about something to do with either the ex-wife's connection to the son or the son himself, by the way she acted on the last trip, and obviously by what the son has just said. So yeah, I think the OP is not the butthole for necessarily saying maybe we can't afford the trip this year. They are totally the butthole in the way they have approached it, and probably the butthole in the way that they are just letting this woman come in and change everything for their son who has literally lost their mother. So then there is an update. So, a year ago, I, 48M, made a post online about the issue I was having with my son, 15M, and my new wife, 40F. I've gotten many messages and comments asking what happened, so I decided to make an update. So, the big thing first. Did I take my son on his birthday trip? No, but let me explain. So, after my son and I got into a fight, he went and complained to his uncle, my late wife's older brother, 47M, and his husband, 47M. I'll go ahead and say that since my late wife got sick, and even after she died, her brother and I never got along. He, his husband, and most of her family like to judge me for how quickly I remarried. However, my son has kept a good relationship with them, and once he told them about what happened, they called and offered to take him themselves. I was all for it, but my wife was not. She thought if we let my son go with them, they'd fill his head with lies about her and only deepen the rift between us. Since this situation was causing her so much stress, and she was pregnant at the time, I decided to decline their offer, which only made things worse. Shocker. Eventually, after about 3 days, we finally sat down and talked. He said he was unhappy with the way that she was treating him and often felt like she was trying to erase his mum's touch from the house. He felt like she was constantly criticising him and didn't want him around. When I confronted my wife about this, she was offended. She said she wasn't trying to erase his mother, but simply add her own touch to the space. She wasn't criticising him, simply parenting. Eventually, my son accepted that he wouldn't be able to go on his trip and was noticeably bummed out about it. So his boyfriend and his friends spent his day at our house trying to cheer him up. A sweet gesture, but I don't think it worked. Over the last year, my wife had our baby, and now that my son's birthday is approaching, he's become more and more bitter and resentful over what happened last year. He spends more time away from home, he's been rude and disrespectful to his stepmother, and been seeing his therapist more frequently. Now that we've all adjusted to having a new baby and my son's birthday is approaching again, I'm thinking if I should resume the tradition of taking my son back to the museum. I think it would be a good idea to hopefully do some family bonding, and honestly, I'm feeling really guilty about what happened last year. My wife has her reservations for saying it would only reward his bad behaviour. I guess I'm making this update to not only inform the people of Reddit, but also ask for a little advice if it's allowed. What should I do? I only want to be a better dad. Well, if you want to be a better dad, don't let some new woman come in and completely make your son feel like they cannot talk about their own mother. I mean, and the fact that he literally said that to the OP, and the OP's gone to his wife and said this is what he thinks, and she's gone, it's not like that at all, and he's just gone, yeah, no, you're right, you're totally right. Like, what the hell? Like, honestly, this, to be fair, I'd like to say I'm surprised, but from reading so many posts very much like this, I'm not surprised. My right ear has just started screaming at me. Why would you do that? You know, when it just all of a sudden that high pitch lovely. But no, I honestly think, I really would say it would be fair enough if it was a money issue. It would be fair enough if you know, it was that the kid was behaving really badly all the time and whatever. And I could totally understand if there had been a case of saying, look, we just can't afford it this year. You know, we will not be able to go. And I'm really, really sorry. We really wanted to go, but we just can't afford it this year. And then the son had been an absolute little shite and was really horrible, although I would get it because, you know, they've lost their parent and that is their only connection. You could understand a kickoff. I would then get if the uncles then said, oh, we'll take him, and going, well, no, we don't want to do that now because of the behaviour. We don't want to reinforce it. But she literally, this wife doesn't want him to go on this trip that means an awful lot to him in a way of feeling like he is still connected to his mum because she doesn't want them to talk bad about her while they're there. Like, be so for real. What the hell? Let's have a look what the commenters say, shall we? I'm very, very interested. So Kurt Introvert said, thought he was an a-hole for the first post, continued to think so with the update. He'll be back wondering what he can do to force his kid to spend time with him when his kid cuts ties to him. Won't see the problem as him or his wife, and will think it must have been those pesky first wife relatives filling his head with nonsense as opposed to his son observing the dad pushing him further and further into the background. Exactly. And then Akari Kuzu says, I remember the original. Yep, he's an asshole. Got to the point where he says, did I take him on the trip? No, but let me explain. Mega asshole. He's going to be wondering why his son doesn't talk to him anymore when he turns 18. Yeah, I am pretty confident in betting that he's going to end up turning 18 and immediately moving in with his uncles. Honestly, and to be fair, I would not blame him one iota because she sounds like an absolute nightmare to live with, that woman. She's just come in and expected to completely take over this poor lad's life. There was so many better ways to go about this if they didn't feel like they could afford it. Okay, then next post, and this one was reposted by Grundog. My asexual partner didn't change for me. So this was originally posted in r/offmychest, and they've titled it saying, I'm done with my asexual partner. When I met her, F27, everything was really sweet. We clicked hard intellectually, we're into a ton of the same stuff. Sex was never a huge deal for me, so I honestly didn't sweat it. Figured with a little effort, things would work out. Okay, so already. I think I can see where this is going. I'm putting in my prediction now. I'm gonna guess that they got with this lady thinking that they could basically twist their arm into having sex with them once they pin them down into a relationship. I'm not sure if they know what the meaning of asexual is, but that's not how that works. But I think I finally snapped. Maybe I'm the one who's messed up, but it honestly feels hypocritical that she's, or at least used to be, into yaoi, Korean manhwa, danmei, I'm not sure what danmei is, all that. I thought it was quirky, genuinely didn't bother me. I know what the other two are, I have no idea what that last one is. Then there's the gossip thing. She lives for gossip, and with her friends, sex is just casual, funny, no big deal. They laugh about it like it's nothing. Yeah, because funnily enough, laughing and talking about things like that is a whole lot different than actually getting into it with somebody. Like, I don't get the comparison here. But I'm not allowed to go there. Every single time I so much as graze a topic that's even remotely sexual, she hits me with a side eye, talks to me with straight contempt, or shuts it down on the spot to talk about literally anything else. Could that maybe be because she feels that you have been trying to push boundaries and she's shutting it down before it even goes there? Perhaps? The breaking point was a few days ago. I saw a meme about spanking and joked that maybe we should try something like that one day. She gave me the silent treatment for 3 days, sent some side message like, you bore me. I know this might sound shitty to asexual folks, but after 2 years, you'd think that something like that would just slide. Nope. This isn't a one-off, it's constant. Every conversation has to be curated. Absolutely zero sex talk, not even implied. See, I can understand in a way why someone from the outside looking in who doesn't have much experience of things like that or have friends that are asexual wouldn't understand why gossiping with friends about it and having a laugh about stuff like that is different than talking about something like that with a partner. And it's the intent, because what this OP is saying is, I want to talk about this stuff with the intent that obviously they're making it very obvious that they want to actually do it. They want to get there. Whereas when you're gossiping about these things with friends, you're not then going to have to worry about your friend trying to pin you down on the sofa. I mean, usually. Do you know what I mean? So it's the whole intent thing, and she's just making sure she's putting in really strict boundaries and making sure that the OP knows. And I assume that she's probably said to him before, like, look, I don't want to keep going over this. It's not going to happen. By the way that the OP is kind of trying to like push these topics all the time. So I could totally understand if she starts saying things like, you bore me, or just completely ignoring these conversations now, because he already knew she's asexual. This is not a fucking surprise to him. You know, it's just like, it's daft. So I get the shutting the conversation down, and I imagine that she's probably getting really fed up and probably on the verge of just ending the relationship, because what is the point with being with someone if they are constantly pushing against something they knew you weren't about in the first place? And in a world like this, it's almost impossible not to brush up against it. I mean, it's absolutely not. Do you go into the shop and start talking sex with the bloody cashier? No, you don't. So you absolutely can put a lid on it. What the hell? I was never some sex-obsessed dude. Never once pushed for anything, not even nudes. That kind of rhymed. But honestly, I'm so sick of it. I'm tired. I had no idea how much sexuality is just woven into everyday life until now. I've put up with it. I've walked on eggshells, made a constant conscious effort, and all I get are these constant, never-ending shit tests about never mentioning sex. Honestly, I'm done. I feel like I've completely wasted my time with this person and could have easily found a normal woman. She is a normal woman. She's just not interested in sex. Like, and you knew it going in, so what do you mean? You feel like you've completely wasted your time? Yeah, you wasted your own time. She told you about her sexuality. She told you that she's not into that, and you still went with her anyway. Like, you wasted your own time, mate. I've tried to talk to her about it. I bought up SSRIs. Low blow. Pretty sure she's taken them. And I figure that's part of the problem. But I didn't push because even talking about that makes her mad. I'm completely fed up living with a walking inquisition who doesn't hold anyone else to these insane standards. Not her friends, not anyone. Again, it's because the intent is completely different. It's only me who gets this extreme sanctimonious attitude. I finally had it. I'm going to take the first real chance I get and finally leave her. I could have been building something real with someone else this whole time. Well, why weren't you? Why did you go for somebody who you knew that this was not what they wanted to do and act like you were okay with that? And all my effort has just earned me ghosting, side eyes, and constant contempt. Like I'm some desperate sex-crazed monkey to her or something. I'm done. It's over. To be honest, it's probably the best for her. So down in the comments, just some bad gas says, wow, lol. My asexual partner doesn't appreciate that I'm constantly trying to talk her into sexual acts and won't have sex with me. It's almost like she's saying she has no interest in sex and won't change her boundaries when I want her to. Please break up with her and let her live her best life, my guy. Exactly. And then Curran there 666. Yes, I got that perfectly right. And we're not going to question my pronunciation on that, okay? But he's not a sex-crazed guy, and it's no big deal that they don't have sex. So he claims. And then Awesome Noodles says, but he doesn't even ask for nudes. Can't you see how much he's sacrificing? And of course, that is sarcasm. Okay then, I think that's all we've got time for today. Only 2 posts managed to be read today, and I feel that that might be because I have genuinely waffled quite a bit. Look, I haven't recorded in a good few days, and I'm recording at, what time are we on? 12:15 at night, and I have 10 messages I have not opened. See, I told you I'm antisocial. Just noticed. Whoopsie. So yeah, I think we're gonna leave it there. If you made it all the way to the end with me, then I appreciate you very, very much. If you give a little like, subscribe, notifications on, that is your initiation into the Governor Void. Welcome. Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Don't forget to leave an offering of a comment for Big Al. Bye!